I need to talk about Austin about some burritos that I made tonight.
Oh yeah, what kind of burritos?
Just some ground chuck burritos that I just did in a different way. And I know
Who's Chuck and why'd you grind them up?
I know not talking to you about food goes over like a lead balloon. That's why I said I talk to Austin about it. Because Austin and I vibe on food. You and I don't have a food vibe, let alone a vibe.
I like food.
Cooking.
I like to cook.
We don't
I don't do it
vibe.
very often, but
We don't vibe on cooking. Austin and I vibe on cooking. That's our love
You've never-
language to each other.
you've never tried to vibe with me on food. On cooking, rather.
Because every other vibe that I've tried with you has failed successfully. So
It's all in your head, dude. It's all in your head.
It is all in my head, and I've given.
Here we go.
Up.
Like
I've given
this
up
is
on
you
vibes.
thinking one thing when the other thing is actually the reality. You know,
Nope. So you're saying my reality is not reality?
not when you're making assumptions about me.
I'm not making assumptions. What I say is
I
based
mean-
in fact that we don't vibe on cooking.
Well,
You
I
don't
think
even
we vibe on
return a
things.
text message that I ask you, do you like chocolate chip cookies?
Oh, don't even get me started on this. You didn't even reply about the show.
Sure. I did reply about the show. You didn't reply about chocolate chip cookies. Therefore, we have no cooking vibe. Austin and I vibe so hard on cooking. He sends me like food text before.
Yeah, he's
before.
he's like a chef, though. You know, like that's his thing.
What the fuck am I?
I don't know.
See, again, we don't have a vibe. If we had a vibe, a cooking vibe, you would know what I am.
Got a vibe.
Austin
Dabba-dabba-dabba-dabba-da.
Austin vibes where he sends me food text at like 9 o'clock in the morning, knowing damn well I'm not a morning person, and I'm not even gonna reply to anything before 11 a.m.
You know what would be fun? If you like taught me how to cook and we could have that. What's that movie with the clay? And he's like teaching the girl how to do clay, and he like comes behind her shoulders and like does the clay with her. You know, you could do that, but
The Miracle
we'll do it
Worker.
we could do it like with stew, though. You know.
Teaching you to cook is like would be a
Or like hamburger meat. We're making like a meatloaf, and you come behind my shoulders, and we start like caressing the meat like the clay in that movie with Michael Douglas or no, that's not Michael Douglas. Fuck, what's that movie?
It's Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze, that's it. The Sways. Yeah, Patrick Swayze.
Teaching you to cook would be literally me being the mother and the miracle worker. I would love to cook with you in the kitchen, but I know it's not your thing. It's not your vibe.
Caught a vibe. I like to cook. I just don't really know a lot. So like my mom who cooked a lot for us as kids, like didn't know how to cook either, and like it's just like it's in my family. We just don't know how to cook. Like her famous dish was like Stouffer lasagna, but she would like add like mushrooms or something. You know,
One of my GCU kids actually asked me to give him cooking lessons because one of his things that he wanted to do this year is become a master chef. And I told him, I says, I can cook. I'm very good in the kitchen, but I am nowhere near a master chef. A master chef is someone that can master savory dishes, desserts, baked goods. And I'm baking is not my strong suit, though I try it. But he had asked me to help him become a master chef. And I said, I can teach you what I know, but I'm nowhere near a master chef. I got skills, but I'm not a master chef. And a week later, he got COVID, and I said I have no interest in showing you anything that I know. Zero. No.
Oh, okay. I can tell you right now, like, I can vibe with you on food on a little bit, because I did grow up watching like Iron Chef. Like, I loved Iron Chef and shows like Iron Chef. Chopped, you know? I was a big fan of Chopped.
What?
But Iron Chef was the main one. I fucking love that show.
What did my birth father do when I was a child?
What did your birth father do? What?
What was my birth father when I was a child?
I don't know. Was he Bobby Flay or something?
No, more proof that you and I don't have a cooking vibe. My father owned restaurants.
Because I don't know about your birth father?
It's something that I have talked about ad nauseum with anybody that is a bypass acquaintance of me knows that my father owned restaurants. And that's where I get my cooking abilities from. And you should even know that from the time that you spent on my show.
I feel like I've never heard this before.
I have always said that. No vibe, which is fine.
I don't remember you ever bringing that up.
I guarantee you I have.
And I'm sorry if you did, but I just don't believe that you did, because every time I ask you about anything, you're so like aloof and like, I don't
You were so full of shit.
I don't even know your age.
Open book.
I don't even know your age. Every time I ask you, you're like, I'm
No one knows my age. I don't even.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know
so
my
what the
age.
fuck?
But
then how are you an open book?
An open fucking book, because I have 11 years of a radio show that I have spilled every fucking thing about my life on, except for my age.
You know damn well I'm not searching through your fucking podcast.
You were
to
part
find out
of the
about
show.
You never talked about your dad cooking, and if you did, that was like 10 years ago now.
I'm the fucking Instagram chef.
And also, you know better than me that when we do one of these shows, once the show is over, it's kind of all gone. You know how it is.
Well, you know what, Jake? When the show is over, I remember things that you say because I care.
You don't give a shit. You don't care.
I care about everything I say on Fat Guy Radio Show.
Of course. That's not what I mean. But like, you know, you get in the zone and you're just like saying things, and then at the end of the show you're like, what did we even It's like when you're driving, right? And you ever like drive on the freeway and then the next moment passes and you're like, God damn, I've just driven like 10 miles and I have no idea where I am right now.
That's called road hypnosis, and it's a real thing. And it is brought
That happens in podcasting.
No,
for sure.
Not to us professionals.
I think definitely to the professionals. Because you just like get in the zone. You get in that fucking zone, son. You know? Nevertheless,
Austin and I vibe on cooking. And I need to tell him about these burritos that I made because they were really good. And I used a new technique with the vegetables that I put in it, and where I cooked them and then chopped them, then added them. And it was a very interesting technique.
Cool.
Yeah. I think you're just being an asshole because you're all cute and sexy. And
how am I being an asshole? You're the one saying we don't have a vibe.
Fine as hell with your new cut and shit. I think that's why you got, you know what you got right now? I figured it out. I know exactly what's going on right now. You got the fucking BDE going on. You got the
Big
new
dick
look.
energy?
You got the face all shaved up. You're looking pale and blotchy. I mean, just fucking beautiful. I mean, there's a good chance that I'm rock hard right now just looking at you. So you got the BDE going on right now. That's why you're being such a dick.
I haven't said anything. You're the one that's like, you don't pay attention to me. You don't care about me. I'm going to rip up a contract. You don't vibe with me. No, how am I being the asshole here?
You don't have a...
What's happening?
You don't have a cooking vibe with
I have vibes all over the place. I'm vibing all the time.
You're vibing hard right now.
There's so many vibes I throw off. Any vibe you want, I can give you that vibe.
None of them.
That's the kind of professional I am.
Oh, now you're a professional. You're a professional that gets in the zone and forgets everything he says on his show. See,
come on, you've said that to me.
You're dealing with a Samson issue right now where you've cut your hair off and you've lost your powers. You're looking like an adult. You're looking like the perfect fuck for hire boy right now.
Oh God.
With your perfect little teeth coming in and your sexy little lips, and you're just sitting there and you're just rocking this my shit don't stink attitude tonight, and that's where all this is coming from.
Let me stop you right there. I don't have little lips. I've got Angelina Jolie lips.
I know, and
they're fat, beautiful, and voluptuous.
They're fucking biteable and lickable.
Thank you.
I may have just completed.
That's the one feature of my body that I like, are my lips.
Your lips aren't the only thing that's big.
Yeah, my belly.
I was going to go with nose. Nevertheless, you're in this...
I got puffy nipples,
You're
too.
in this... You don't have puffy nipples. You have little freaking dewdrop nipples. Nevertheless, I think it's because you're looking good. You probably turned a couple of heads today at work or in the grocery store or when you were out licking doorknobs. You probably turned a couple of heads. Some people probably looked that weren't looking before. God knows I'm turned on right now. And that's just inflated your mojo and your ego. And you're just coming at me with your lies and your deceptions and your misdirections.
5, 6, 7, 8. What is up, boys? Welcome to the Jake and Cory Podcast. My name is Jake. That is Cory. What is up, Cory?
My name is Cory, and that is Jake. What is up, Jake?
You know, I cut my hair today, Cory.
You don't say.
I chopped it off, man.
What?
Really? I couldn't tell.
Really?
I mean, I guess like audio listeners, which is everybody for this show.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know. They can't see.
Yeah.
But my hair was literally, to the middle of my back.
Can you make a reference on the front of your body? I'm more familiar with the front of your body than I am with your back.
Not quite to the belly button, but nearly. Where my hair was.
Was your hair long enough where the end of your hair almost connected to that bush you have down below that you need to lawn mow? You don't have a happy trail. You have like a frolic through the forest trail.
That's true. Yeah, you're right about that. That's weird that you know that about me. But
you're a very hairy person.
That's not even true, actually. I don't have a lot of hair, but I do have hair on my stomach for some reason. I can't even grow chest hair, dude. I've tried. It just doesn't come in.
I was talking about your saguaro cactus pubes.
I do have lots of pubes. I'm still growing them out because I want to donate those too. But I decided to donate my hair, which I still need to send it in. I currently just have a bag of like 4 hair ties of my hair sitting in my car right now that need to be sent to whatever charity I choose.
Do you send them to lice as well?
Like to get deliced?
Yeah, do they accept the lice in your hair?
Luckily, I had no lice, so that's cool. That's cool. That's nice. They brush it out too.
Yeah,
they brush out the lice.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so I went from it had to be at least 10 inches to donate. They chopped off 13 inches. off my hair.
Yeah, 13 inches, Jake? Ooh.
Yeah, I did. And then I went even further than that, and I straight up just like buzzed my hair
So you saying you went all the way?
I went all the way. I've got 2 inches of hair on my head right now.
I got 2 inches too.
Which actually, it's probably an inch.
Yeah.
Think of it, but it's
that's probably an inch. I probably got an inch too.
Jesus Christ, Cory! I'm trying to talk to you about my hair over here.
What? I'm vibing.
Yeah, got a vibe. Yeah. So I chopped my hair off. I feel very weird, and also, strange time to cut my hair off, considering that mole thing, whatever it is, that groundhog was like, nah, it's still winter or whatever.
Fucking groundhog has no effect on Arizona.
Well, Arizona for some reason got colder today than it ever has been.
Yeah, it was ice cutting nipple cold tonight.
Oh yeah, freezing 65 degrees outside.
It's been rather chilly to the point where I've talked about it on my show where I got a new bed. Spent $4,000 on a new bed, and I bought it because you can design these beds, and I normally sleep warm, but it's been chilly in Arizona. So I have the bed that's designed that allows cool air to blow through it. You know what I mean? Well, when it's chilly, that works against, you going to sleep comfortably. And previously I owned a waterbed, and the waterbed had a heater in it. Well, this new bed that I have does not have a heater, so I actually had to buy a warming blanket that I put between the top sheet and my comforter on my bed, and I turned that on, and it doesn't cover the whole bed. It only covers like from the waist down. So like half of the bed is covered, but it gives like the perfect warming sensation when I get in my bed now. But it kind of sucks because then I have this freaking cord and this remote control that's like going across the other side of my bed. Luckily, no one sleeps on the other side of my bed. But it was just a little annoying where I went from like unfortunately, I should have used the word unfortunately. But I went from like having, warm water to now having to have a blanket. But this bed's going to be amazing in the summer when it is hot and the bed is cool. That's going to be the payoff. So, $4,000 and then a $75 warming blanket. Yeah. It's par for the course at this point.
Mr. Moneybags over there. You brag about it.
I've been telling you that our entire existence together, I've been trying to buy your love for years.
Yeah, you definitely don't have my love. We definitely haven't been besties for 10 years now. Yeah. No, I don't. I've been trying to buy your friendship, buy your affection. You don't allow me to. I bought you one gift, and you have yet to even. I don't even know if you like it. You probably threw it under your bed. You probably said, "I'm never gonna." I probably put it in a bag and gonna donate it, and it's sitting in your car. I don't know. It doesn't care. I still feel good because I gave you something. I use one of your gifts that you gave me, like every single day, actually.
And what is that?
I'm currently using it right now.
And what is that?
See, you don't even remember.
I don't.
In one ear, out the other ear. Just like podcasts.
What gift? What is the gift that you use every day?
The ring light you gave me.
Oh, that wasn't like a gift. That was like an investment into your business, if you will, because you use it for business reasons.
I thought that was like an endearing gift, and I was like, oh.
No, the clothes was an endearing gift. Me trying to dress you is an endearing gift,
and I appreciate it.
Yeah, but you took it with gnashing of teeth and
what do you mean?
And you were like, no.
I remember specifically, I actually annoyed you with the gift because the gift you gave me, for everyone listening, was a shirt, a Marvel shirt. And it was like a periodic table of Marvel characters. And I remember we sat on your couch and I went through every fucking character. And I was like, oh, this one is this. And this is this guy. And you're just like, oh, God, get this guy out of here.
It wasn't, you know, no, you just like were really awkward with it and weren't very, you didn't want it to you didn't like want the gift. Basically, I had to like force it upon you.
But that's like
sense.
That's a me thing. It's not a you thing. That's like I just hate receiving gifts from people because it makes me feel bad. Like it makes me feel guilty. Like I'm taking advantage of somebody. Like I don't like that.
Right,
know?
which is why I'm like which is why I have not been able to successfully buy your affection.
Yeah, but like I feel that on like Christmas, like if my family gives me gifts, like I'm just like, please don't. Like I just don't like it. I also don't like the attention to be on me too much, like I kind of hate that. It's not
You're
a thing.
A musician, you boob. How the fuck do you not like attention?
Because that is attention on my music, not on me. Same with these podcasts. I don't want the attention to be on me personally. I want it to be on our content that we produce. If you notice, like, if you ever go to my social medias, I don't take like a whole lot of pictures of myself, and I don't like being in pictures either. Like if someone's taking pictures, I prefer not to be in them just because, like, I don't know. I don't like having attention like that. I'll take my own picture for a fucking thumbnail on a video, but that's like a totally different thing in my mind. And maybe my mind is wrong. Maybe, I'm viewing the world wrong, which I probably am. But it's just like,
why don't you like being in pictures?
It makes me feel weird and uncomfortable. Like I don't like being the center of attention like that. Actually, like, I grew my hair out, we were just talking about, and I cut it off. And I kind of hate doing this because every time I do it, everyone's like, oh my God, you cut your hair all short. I don't like that part of it. I like to be able to donate my hair and stuff, and I like to, have a different look or whatever. But I don't like when people are like, oh my God, you look so different. That's crazy. Like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. It's weird. I don't like having that kind of heat on me.
I guess from a person like myself, that makes no sense to me. My entire life, I've always been not in the spotlight, but running towards the spotlight. Always been in entertainment, always been, if the family was together, I mean, my extended family, grandmothers, aunts, and uncles were together when I was a little kid. I was a kid that had some plan to put on some type of show or some type of routine in front of them. You know what I mean? I wanted. Now, the reason why I somewhat side with you on not being in pictures, but the only reason why I don't want to be in pictures is because I weigh a metric ton and I don't want to see that. And I always am the big dark shadow in the pictures most of the time. But you are photogenic and a pretty boy. You're one of the pretty people. You should be fine with taking pictures.
I completely disagree with that sentiment as well. I don't think I'm a pretty boy.
Well, then I have like we're both a lazy you eye. In the world. We're both you. Okay, you say you have a lazy eye. I say I'm a metric ton. So we're both viewing the world differently because people say all the time that I'm sexy chocolate.
Yeah.
Or what do they call me down at the Suns? They call me luscious.
And you're like a cutie, Like you just see you and you're just like, oh, look at this cutie over here.
That hurt,
cute man.
That hurt you to say that, didn't it? Nevertheless,
what do you mean? What do you mean it hurt me? What are you talking about?
You don't say shit like that to me. Your lazy eye
just did.
Yeah, for the first time in 1,500 years. But your lazy eye.
You just every time I say something, you're like, it's not genuine, even though I'm saying it.
It's not.
And you're like, you don't say anything, even though I fucking said it. And that is how you talk. Oh, I'm Cory Blaze.
My voice is that high, you ass fuck.
Yeah. You're like, oh, fat guy radio.
So I
show,
sound like Mickey
addicts.
Mouse to you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
Listen,
that's what I'm saying.
you say I'm a cutie. I say fuck you. I say you are a sexy motherfucker, and you say fuck you. So we're both clearly looking at the world through tinted colored rose glasses that have a magnification of 50.
Yeah. I mean,
with a
we're both.
stigmatism of 12.
Yeah, maybe we should just both admit that we're perfect human beings and nothing can touch us.
Well,
we're unstoppable.
The thing is that I know that I'm sexy as fuck. I mean, look at this chocolate. Who wouldn't want to be up under this chocolate?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
You know who wouldn't want to be under all this chocolate? You want to know who wouldn't want to be?
A small dog.
Every motherfucker I've ever come across, because again, no one's on the other side of my bed.
Yeah.
They were programming and putting in my bed because it has a fucking computer in it. They were putting in my bed and installing it, and they hand me the little, I open up the little app on my iPhone 13 Pro Max, and it says, okay, we'll set your number on your bed, and I set a little number on my bed, and then the installation guy looks and says, well, who's on the other side? Let's set their number. I just started crying. Just like, yeah, no, we're gonna go ahead and duplicate the number on the other side.
just like in front of the people installing the bed, you just started crying.
Just went right down in the fetal position and started crying.
They just slowly walk out.
And then when they didn't walk out because we had one more thing to do. And once I set the other side of the bed to the same number, then he says, you got to put your weight in on the app. And so once I was done with my therapy session, I put my weight in on the app. So that was like a double banger of emotions.
So you like the bet then?
No, I haven't. I haven't. I've got 100 nights to decide whether or not I want to love it. Right now, I'm not saying that I'm not loving it. I'm saying I'm still adjusting to it. It's different. You're talking to a guy that has slept on a waterbed for the last 30 years. So sleeping on a non-waterbed is it's a very weird feeling to me. I mean, I still get in and try to rock my knee to create a wave to, drift off into sleepy sleep. But yeah, I'm not to the point where I don't like it. I'm still just in the middle of adjusting to it. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to me. Like, I don't sleep, like when I travel pre-COVID, I never got a good night's sleep in hotel bed. And people say hotel beds are the most comfortable beds. I disagree. I've never had a good night's sleep in a hotel bed. I stayed in a 5-star hotel in Washington, D.C. when I went out to be on a show out there.
Mr. Moneybags over here.
No. When I flew out to Washington, D.C. on credit card points, Jake, since I'm Moneybags, I flew out to Washington, D.C. on credit card points and stayed in the Kimpton. And the thing is that I had to request like 17 more pillows just to like feel somewhat comfortable. And then that was the first night. And then the second night I got no sleep because I was afraid I was going to possibly get comfortable and then oversleep and miss my flight and be stuck in Washington, D.C. Wish that would have happened sometimes. But I was afraid to go to sleep. So I slept in like I kept taking 15-minute naps. I take a 15-minute nap. I set my alarm for 15 minutes. I doze off for 15 minutes and I wake back up. And then I doze off for 15 minutes and I wake back up because that's how nervous I was that I was going to miss my 6:15 departure flight out of DC back to Phoenix, which I had a layover in Minneapolis and then to Phoenix. I have no idea why I shared all that, but I did.
Oh, please go on. What's your social security number?
554 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be longer than that.
That's hurtful. See, now you're age shaming me because I'm hundreds of years old.
Yeah, what's your social security number? 1?
No, 7.
Oh, yeah, right. You're right. Adam and Eve came first, and then Cain and Abel, of course.
You're just picking on me because my driver's license is etched in granite.
It's so old it doesn't even have an expiration date on it.
You're picking on me because I knew what the 11th commandment was. I was there.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, I'm very old, Jake. But I don't know why I said all that, but I said that to say this. I hate it when people say that. I fucking hate it when people say that. I said that to say this. Why the fuck didn't you just say this?
To say what?
Exactly.
You said it all to say what, though?
To make my point that I hate when people say I said that to say this.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Okay. Hey, Cory.
Yes, Jake.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, nothing.
Do you know who Roland Emmerich is?
No, but if he's tied to who I think he's tied to, I'm mute my mic.
It's not Joe Rogan.
What did I say?
You.
I said don't say anything. I said
I promise you
his
it's not.
Name. I have no idea who Roland. Oh, Roland is the keyboard maker. The keyboard manufacturer.
Not that Roland.
Oh,
different.
The drum set manufacturer.
Yeah, different Roland. Have you ever heard of the movie Independence Day?
Yes, with Will Smith.
Yes. Have you ever heard of the movie Godzilla, the 1998 one?
No.
Okay, there was a Godzilla movie in 1998 directed by Roland Emmerich. Also Independence Day, directed by Roland Emmerich. He also did the movie The Day After Tomorrow.
Okay.
And he did the new Independence Day, which is called Independence Day Resurrections. He just had a movie come out called Moonfall, which I went and saw it. I posted a review on the Lonercast channel. Definitely go check that out. Okay. And I touched on this just a smidge, but I'd like to talk about it here for a second.
Sure.
Roland Emmerich came out and said, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars movies are ruining our industry a little bit because nobody does anything original anymore. And then went on to say he falls asleep during Marvel movies on planes because they're so boring and unoriginal. Now, let me remind you, this man is famous for directing Independence Day Resurrections, The Day After Tomorrow, and the worst Godzilla movie ever made, 1998 Godzilla. Let's take a look here.
So what did he say again?
He said that Marvel, DC, and Star Wars movies are ruining our industry.
Okay.
And that he falls asleep during them and that they are shit films. Now hold on here. I want to get a Rotten Tomatoes score here on Godzilla 1998.
Please.
Yeah. Of course there's all these fucking pop-ups. Currently, Godzilla 1998, starring Matthew Broderick, has a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Holy monkey. Holding strong since 1998.
Oh, yeah. And many of his other movies, same thing, same sort of just BS. Mm-hmm. Now, it's one thing, it's one thing when it's Marty Scorsese coming out and being like, these Marvel movies are taken away from the smaller, more independent films and the, classier films. Or when Ridley Scott comes out and says this. Ridley Scott, of course, did Gladiator and The Martian and Alien, some timeless classics.
Yeah.
But then Roland Emmerich claims that these movies aren't original. This guy makes a career off of making the same disaster movie every fucking year. That's his shtick. Moonfall is no different. It's just a bunch of nameless people, and Halle Berry is in there for some reason, and they're just lifeless. I saw this movie. It's awful. It's terrible. It's an awful movie. Like, superbly bad.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy comes out and says that Marvel, which I would argue, even if you aren't a huge fan of Marvel, are, they're far more original than fucking The Day After Tomorrow or Independence Day Resurrection. Specifically, like, we just had Spider-Man No Way Home come out, and this movie is, highly regarded as like not just like the fans like it, but the critics are like, this is an amazing film. It touches on like loss and grief and acceptance, and like, it touches on all these things. But then Roland Emmerich releases a movie where, the moon is collapsing on the earth for no fucking reason, and then there's aliens there, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no character development or anything. So, like, for him to say this kind of shit is just kind of hilarious to me. Now, one more thing here before I let you go off, because you might say this too. I am half convinced this is just a PR stunt.
That's exactly, that's exactly where I was going to go.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this dude knew exactly what he was doing. He knows that his movies are trash garbage, and he knows that they obviously bring in enough money to continue making them, and he probably wasn't as sure for Moonfall. He's like, I don't know if this is going to make enough money. This needs a big PR boost. How about me, a fucking horrible derivative director, says that these movies that are beloved by a lot of people and critics alike, not that every Marvel movie is good, we could have a whole discussion about Marvel and all that stuff. That's not the point. But like, he knows, like, his movies are at least as derivative as Marvel, at least, if not more derivative. So he's like, if I say this shit, it's gonna get a reaction.
Yeah, it's gonna get a reaction because you're attacking basically some of the biggest movie franchise makers out there, basically. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah, it is the biggest,
if not the largest.
It is.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna call the PR. I was gonna play the PR card on this because it just seems like, why would you go after something so big? You know what I mean? And for what purpose? It just seems like it's just all PR.
Yeah. Have you seen any of his movies?
I've seen Independence Day, and I'm not familiar with him by name. I probably have seen some of the movies that he's made, but I wouldn't be able to call them right off, off face. I'm surprised that, like, some things that I've really loved in cinematic history, I didn't realize the directors that were behind it. Like, it took me a while to even figure out James Cameron behind Titanic. I was more focused on, it was Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. You know what I mean? I really wasn't focused on the fact that it was James Cameron. And even today, like, when we ask, like, where are some of the actors of yesteryear, like, where are they? Or I literally just learned this, and this isn't cinematic, this is TV. I literally just learned as to the reason behind why one of my favorite shows, Roseanne, the reboot, The Connors, doesn't feature a lot of Michael Fishman's character, DJ. Well, Michael Fishman's been directing a lot of the episodes of The Connors, and that's the reason why he's not portraying his character as DJ, but he's directing him. So I don't pay a lot of attention to directors. They don't jump right out in front of me. Like, there was a while where I was like, where's Zach Braff? What's going on with Zach Braff? Well, he's been freaking directing and executive producing.
He is a director, yeah.
Shows. And I don't realize that. I don't know why. I've never been one of those people that pays a lot of attention to directors, But this that you explained, after just the looking at it from 30,000 foot level, just seems like more of a PR stunt for anything, because why would you come after one of the biggest franchises in movie making history?
Yeah.
It's the hashtag. You're using the hashtag.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing though for like movie directors to go after Marvel, because those two examples that I gave, Martin Scorsese and Ridley Scott, who are both very famous directors. I'm sure you know at least who Martin Scorsese is.
Yeah, familiar with Martin Scorsese.
Scorsese.
I'm familiar with March Zuckerberg, but I'm familiar. Yeah. I'm familiar with him in front of the camera more than I am him behind the camera.
What do you mean? What has he acted in?
Isn't he an actor?
I didn't.
Wasn't
know,
he in like the Goodfellas?
He directed Goodfellas.
Oh, well then that's how I know.
And he directed Taxi Driver, Wolf of Wall Street.
He directed Wolf. See, again, maybe it's Leonardo DiCaprio movies, because when you say Wolf of Wall Street, I immediately think of Leonardo DiCaprio. Even though I've never seen Wolf of Wall Street, but I know that Leonardo DiCaprio's in it. I didn't know it was a Martin Scorsese. And you were the one that even pointed out to me that the director of Django, what's that dude's name that loves to say the N-word?
Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino. I thought he was just an actor. And it was you that pointed out to me that he was not only in it and got blown the hell up, but he also directed it. And I see the names flash across the screen. I just don't compute that. But it was you that pointed out that it was a Quentin Tarantino. A lot of movies that I've talked about were Quentin Tarantino movies, and I never really realized that it was Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
like who directed Men in Black? Was that Quentin Tarantino?
No, I don't know who directed Men in Black.
James Cameron?
No. James Cameron did do Aliens 2 and Terminator 2.
It was somebody big that directed Men in Black, I want to think.
Barry Sonnenfeld. I actually don't even know who this is.
I don't either. All right. But I don't pay
attention. He went on to direct Wild Wild West, which is an absolute travesty of a film.
There you go. when you got a mechanical wooden mechanical spider in your movie, it's definitely going to be a flop. I watched it though.
Oh yeah, that movie sucks. You know what they got rid of for that movie? Sorry this is a bit tangential, but this is just a fun little fact here. So they were planning on making a Superman movie back in the 90s. Right after like the two Tim Burton Batman movies, the ones with like Michael Keaton, and Danny DeVito was in the second one or whatever. Those movies were so popular that they're like, hey, let's have Tim Burton direct a Superman movie. Like, that'd be weird. And Nick Cage was going to play Superman. Nicolas Cage was going to play Superman.
Really?
And it was going to be written by Kevin Smith. So it was going to be written by Kevin Smith and directed by Tim Burton, starring Nicolas Cage. And one of the premises in the movie was that Superman would fight a giant spider, right? The studio ended up not making that movie because they had like a bit of a fallout with Tim Burton because they didn't like the sequel to Batman because I guess it was too dark or whatever, and Tim Burton was just sort of like ready to move on. And he also didn't like Kevin Smith's script, and there was all sorts of like dramas. There's a whole documentary about it. But so they took some of the carryovers from that movie, like the giant spider and stuff, and they put it into Wild Wild West. And that's how Wild Wild West came to be.
I never knew that. That movie was dreadful.
Yeah. Although that movie did instill like a fear into me. That scene when he goes into like the thing that stores the wheat. You know what I'm talking about? Like the big cylinder thing that
the big
like holds
silo,
wheat.
the big wheat silo.
It was like wheat or corn or whatever was in there.
Grain,
he goes
I
in
think
there.
It was.
Yeah, and he starts to get like sucked down into it. Ever since that, I've had like a fear of getting sucked into like a silo like that.
I had that same type of experience, but I had it with Titanic, and it not only did it awake a secret fear, but it's any time that I see it. a room filling with water. That is the biggest fear of my life. Like, I think that that's the reason why all my properties that I've ever lived in or owned have always been 2 stories. I've always had double level homes because I always feel like that secret fear of a room filling with water. I guess it's like I have a fear of drowning, even though I float, but still, nevertheless, a room filling with water just shakes me to my fucking core.
Yeah, man. Dude, Titanic came out in what year? Titanic came out in 1997, right?
I was going to say 96, 97.
Yeah. And of course was directed by James Cameron.
Hey,
you're aware of now. He also went on to direct Avatar, which was what
the Blue People.
Yeah, which was what replaced Titanic as like the highest grossing movie ever. But Titanic is one of those movies I still go back to right now, and the special effects and all of that stuff, it still blows my mind. And there's so much of that movie that I'm just like, how did they film this? Yeah. Like all the scenes where like the water is rising and like they're like I'm just like, how did they do this? Like, how the fuck did he film this shit? And I know some of it is CG, but a lot of it is like just Leo and what's her butt? I can't remember her name.
I can't either. But you know that it was
sort of swimming around,
It was CGI. Kate Winslet. It was CGI, yes, but there were also models. The scene in Titanic where the water rushes down the hallway of the boat and the doors fly in and stuff like that, that was a model of like 3/4 the size. And there's like a YouTube video of it where they had it's literally the camera moving at a very rapid pace, and then in editing and in post they slow it down, but in real time that whole scene was a few seconds. But so some of it was CGI, some of it was literally shot, and then the actors' parts, of course, was there was some CGI that was used in that aspect. But man,
yeah, CGI.
And to think that it was back in 1997. And it holds up to shit that is produced in 2021. You know what I mean? And it still trumps some of the stuff that's used today that with technology that didn't even exist back then.
Yeah, and that, there were a lot of models and stuff used, and because the CG was like, very primitive back then, We had some CG scenes in like Jurassic Park or whatever. And then, of course, the king of CG came 2 years after in the Star Wars The Phantom Menace. But, like, one thing I will say about, like, the newer trilogy of Star Wars is they found that balance. And I feel like this is why I love Titanic so much as well. They found that balance of CG and practical effects, where it's like we use practical effects because straight up practical effects just look real if you're using smaller models and like stuff like that.
Absolutely.
In the new sequels to Star Wars, they took it upon themselves to really use as many like practical effects like puppets and miniatures of the spacecrafts and stuff. And the reason they did that, I think, was because they wanted to be more authentic to the original Star Wars. Because the original Star Wars, there was no CG, so it was all done with miniatures and models and stuff.
Right.
But what ended up happening, in my opinion, was they found a perfect balance of like miniatures and CG, and I think those things working together work so much better than one or the other. If you use them together in tandem, you get just like really, really good stuff. I hope in the future,
not even using them in tandem, but orchestrating them together so masterfully,
where they blend,
where you can't even really tell, you know what I mean? And then there are some movies out there where it's just absolutely ridiculously horrible, where it's not even believable. Like when they made Cats,
Yeah.
that was just the most horrific CGI job. That was CGI was done by an intern. That wasn't
Yeah.
any,
Well,
I mean,
I think
I've seen better CGI in GTA.
I think like why the CG and practical blending works so well is it almost gives the graphic designers who are doing the CG and stuff like a reference point of like, here's what the real model looks like. Now design it around this, instead of like, something like Avatar, which looked great at the time. There was no reference point, it was all
Right.
CG, and you're just kind of doing whatever, which makes it come off a little cartoony and weird. But there's a place for that as well. Like Into the Spider-Verse is amazing.
Maleficent, the Disney movie Maleficent, that had CGI in it and practical graphics as well. But I don't think it was done as I think it was one that was overtly done with the CGI. You know what I mean? It is Disney, yes, and
Disney loves CG. They did it for Star Wars, right? Because Star Wars. But if you look at the Marvel universe, it's not a whole lot of practical effects used in the Marvel universe. That is one complaint I have about the Marvel universe.
The storyline. The storyline isn't practical, so
True.
they have to use a lot of CG, but it has to be done absolutely right. But when you look,
but same with Star Wars, though, like it's pretty.
It's
absurd
not
stuff.
Yeah, it's out there, but it's done so well that it's nearly impossible. And I'm not a Star Wars fan or a Star Wars geek by no means, but just watching a movie to watch it as a movie, it's virtually impossible to not suspend belief when watching Star Wars because it's done so well. You literally are forced to believe that these galaxies and this world exists because it's done so well. So that's the plus about Star Wars, where with like movies like Maleficent was clearly fantasy in a way, where Star Wars to me really came across as more reality because it was done so well. Is that weird to say?
It's a little weird. I think Star Wars is a fantasy. A lot of people say it's sci-fi. I think it's a fantasy movie through and through. A lot of fantasies, which is funny because Maleficent is a fantasy movie, but like a lot of old school fantasy stuff always started with once upon a time, that was fantasy. And what does Star Wars start with?
In a land far, far away.
In a galaxy far, far away. It's basically once upon a time. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's basically saying once upon a time in a land far away from here. It's a fantasy movie. It totally is. And I love Star Wars for that. What I will say about Maleficent, and I'm going to be honest here, I've never seen Maleficent 1 or 2. I haven't seen either of them.
Now we have the movie you can watch.
Yeah, there we go. But I will be honest, I've seen a lot of the other like classic Disney remakes where they make them into live action, which Maleficent fits into. So like they remade Beauty and the Beast, they remade Lion King, they remade,
the one that I did. I'm biased by this, not to cut you off, but I'm biased by this remake. Well, it's not really a remake, but this adaptation of what do they call it when they make it real life?
Live action?
Yeah, this adaptation of live action, The Jungle Book.
Yeah, that
no,
same
not
vein.
The Jungle Book. Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They redid that one, and that one blew my mind. But I'm coming from a huge fan to the point where I have a massive movie poster of Where the Wild Things Are above my bed in my bedroom because that's my favorite book as a kid, and I relate to Max.
I have a huge issue though with a lot of these Disney remakes is what they're called, with like Maleficent, because to me a lot of them are just like cheap cash grabs because they're like, oh, we have all these people who grew up with these movies, let's make them live action, quick buck. And
yeah, definitely.
There's not a whole lot of thought that goes into them. Like, I know Lion King, the new one that was directed by Jon Favreau, like, visually stunning, and I can't even disagree with you. Like, visually crazy, but it's straight up just a shot-for-shot remake.
Yeah.
Jungle Book was a little bit more acceptable because it wasn't a shot-for-shot remake. They took some liberties there and, like, made some differences. I guess the same could be said about Maleficent. But, like, the thing with Where the Wild Things Are, though, is, like, that's a small book that they turned into a full movie,
I know.
Like, they took a lot of artistic liberties and made something special. I think that's why a lot of these Marvel movies work so well, too, because they take these, 10-page comic books and they turn them into full-length movies and full-length, bring the pages to life, which I think that works a lot better than just remaking an animated movie that already exists into a live action.
And that has existed and was a cartoon and all
and
this
still is
stuff.
great,
Yeah. But that I thought I was
it's like
a little biased with Where the Wild Things Are because, I grew up with the book.
That movie's great. I love.
I remember it being one of my one of like the first books I ever read from cover to cover as a kid. You know what I mean? I'm not a big reader, never have been, but that was one of the books that I read from cover to cover, and I may or may not identify directly with Max.
Yeah. I love Where the Wild Things Are.
To a world of his own imagination.
In a world of pure imagination.
Come with me and we'll be in a world of pure imagination.
So anyway, Roland Emmerich sucks.
Another movie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, Roland, we see through your ruse, bruh. We see.
How do you feel about
your ruse?
How do you feel about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? The one with Johnny Depp.
The one with Johnny Depp was weird.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw both.
Yeah.
I've
Tim
seen
Burton.
both of them. Yeah, I've seen both of them. The first Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, was. I mean, I quoted some of the lines. You lose, and you stole fizzy drink or whatever the line is. You know what I mean? The one with Johnny Depp that had a very young actor that I love today, and his name just completely, absolutely left my mind. He's an English actor, a true English actor, and he's Freddie Hightower. Freddie Highmore, I believe his name is, but he was a kid in that movie.
He was Charlie.
Yeah, he played Charlie, and I think it's Freddie Highmore, I believe his name is.
Yeah,
and
Freddie Highmore.
Yeah,
August Rush.
And he's now in a TV show series.
That was him, right? He was in August Rush.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. He like smacks the guitar and shit.
Yeah, so Freddie Highmore is like one of my favorite actors, and he's now in a TV series that.
The Good Doctor. I hate that.
The Good Doctor that I love. I absolutely love that show. You fucking kiss my ass.
I feel like that's a really poor representation of autism. But yeah, anyway. You like what you like.
Well, you come from a different place when it comes to that, but nevertheless, I think he's a damn good actor because he was also in a series of they turned a movie into a series of shows, and I can't recall what the name of it was.
Bates Motel.
Bates Motel. Yeah, they turned that into a series of shows, and Freddie Highmore was in that as well, and he played Norman Bates, and he killed it. That.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he killed it.
Yeah, I love Psycho as well.
Well, then why don't you love me? I am psycho as a motherfucker.
I really liked the original Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. The one with Gene Wilder.
Wilder, yeah.
Gene Wilder is like a national treasure. He's like one of my favorite one of my favorites of all time. You know, Dr. Frankenstein, and
that movie is one where you really have to. Though I would say that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the original, Willy Wonka is the one where you really have to go back and watch at least 4 or 5 times because there's so much going on. There's so much that is happening. And I believe that when that movie was shot, those were all practical sets. I believe that there was not a lot of special effects that was used in that.
It was like the 60s?
Practical effects that were used, and there's like YouTube videos and websites out there that say how they made the chocolate river and
71
and things like that. I mean, it's just, and it was also back in the day when they were doing like The Wizard of Oz, another one of my favorite movies, very practically shot on massive sound stages and things like that, you know. But Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is definitely a movie you want to watch several times. Even the Johnny Depp one, you want to watch it a couple of times because there's so many weird freaking things that happen in that movie that you miss just watching it once.
Yeah, I think like the original one just has like so many iconic moments, you know, to the moment where he's like walking out in the cane and he does the front flip and stuff, and really sets the tone of his character and stuff, and you're like, this guy's kind of crazy but also kind of like heartfelt at the same time. Like there's a weird balance here where this guy is like insane, but also is he not insane and he's just playing a trick, and like there's all this stuff where Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the one that Tim Burton made with Johnny Depp, to me was just like, this guy is psychotic. It's goofy.
Yeah, he's got a couple of kids locked up in a basement or a closet somewhere.
Yeah, and it's just like super weird and uncomfortable. There's nothing redeeming about Willy Wonka in that movie. And also, I feel like, you know, no offense to Tim Burton. I love Tim Burton. He made a lot of my favorite movies. Batman. I love Batman. Nightmare Before Christmas, I love that shit. But you know, Edward Scissorhands, love that shit.
I forgot about Edward Scissorhands. I love that movie.
Love that shit. But like with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, to me was like, hey, there's this movie about a psycho. We think Johnny Depp would be perfect for it because he's a weird guy, and you make weird ass movies. How about you do this? And Tim Burton's like, yeah, I don't care. This won't be the most memorable movie I make. And I know that. I feel like he went into that movie knowing like this is not going to be my most memorable movie.
No, because there was there'd be no way that it would be his most memorable movie because the original is so iconic.
Yeah, exactly. There's no point. You know they're making a new one.
Oh shit! Really? Why?
Timothy Chalamet is going to be
that little pretty little skinny dude. No,
he's Willy Wonka now, I guess.
He should be Charlie.
Because he looks like a child? Yeah.
Yeah, because he looks like he's 14 years old.
Hey, man, I think he's like 30, so.
Oh, that's not going to be good. They're probably going to CGI the fuck out of it.
My guess is it's not even like the Charlie story. I feel like it's going to be like a Willy Wonka origin story.
Timothy Chalamet is not. He's too pretty. He's too pretty.
There's pictures of him online dressed up as
weird. You need weird for Willy Wonka. You gotta. I mean, even Gene Wilder, the hair with who was the other actor?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp with the glasses and the teeth. Timothy Chalamet. What? He's gonna come down the aisle to greet the peasant kids on a catwalk wearing Gucci? What the?
He is sort of a weird looking guy. I could see it, I guess.
No, he's too pretty. He's too dreamy. He's too skinny.
There's a picture of him dressed up as Willy Wonka. You should look it up. Okay, don't do that then.
I'm not.
Okay. Putting in the effort, Corey. Love it.
I can't because, you know, my computer is like running 8 streams right now.
Fair enough.
I can't even open up Facebook while this is going on. It just all freezes.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like over remakes and rehashes, I guess.
And it goes back to the fact that it was something that, I've said Hollywood's out of ideas. Or all the new ideas are in film festivals.
Yeah, they're not out of ideas. It's just capitalism. And people will go and see known names, I almost feel like there are a lot of movies that are original ideas, and then they're like, hey, let's make it like a Thundercats movie,
I have a movie that's coming out that is a short film that was shot practical, and it will have CGI in it as well, titled My Little Red Drone. And it's a beautiful, endearing story. I got a chance a couple of weeks ago to get an advanced screening of it without any CGI or effects in it, so it was kind of weird. I had to put it in there mentally. But it's a little endearing little story. Nothing that you would ever see in a movie theater, which supports the fact that I think a lot of new creative things are in festivals and where this one is going to go. But it was shot practically, and we'll have some CGI in it as well because we're dealing with drones and stuff like that. And it's taken the guy a while to do a lot of it, but I had a little small role in this little indie film, and it's probably going to be, one of those little Disney shorts at 20 minutes, if that, you know what I mean? It's just a cute little endearing little story, and I'm excited about that. But they're using CGI, and
I have no problem with CGI. I think
stuff was shot practically too, where we were like, don't actually hit the drone. I'm like, okay, I won't actually hit the drone, even though I may have actually hit the drone, the real drone. I was like, oops, my bad.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with CG, and especially if you're using it in a creative way, you definitely can do that.
Yeah,
yeah. It's just yeah. Let us know when it comes out. I'd love to watch it.
I will. You know what?
That.
I will.
Thank you.
I was going to say something else, but I stopped.
Okay. Anyway, we should start to wrap it up, I guess. Thanks for joining us on this movie-fueled episode of the Jake and Cory podcast. I'm Jake. That's Cory. Make sure you check out, Lonercast, all our other content. We've got spoiler casts and Last Week in Games and all sorts of fun stuff. Also, check me out live at twitch.tv/lonercast, where we do a lot of our shows live, and I'm always streaming video games over there. I've been playing Guardians of the Galaxy over there, Pokemon over there. When Horizon Forbidden West comes out, I'm definitely playing that. I'm going to be playing Elden Ring as well. Get excited for that. Cory, what about you? What's going on with you?
Fat Guy Radio Show is on every week at fatguyradioshow.com. And we will be coming up soon. Nope, not going to spoil it on the show. But listen, lots of giveaways. I will say that. Lots of giveaways coming up on Fat Guy Radio Show. And our last giveaway winner posted a video of the giveaway and didn't tag in Fat Guy Radio Show, but we're not upset about that. But nevertheless, we saw it because we follow each other. So Fat Guy Radio Show, lots of little giveaways and lots of fun and crazy fat guy meltdowns over there. So check it out. I don't stream, but I think I may start streaming other streamers.
I'm going to go to the bathroom here in a minute and start streaming. You know what I'm saying?
I want to go.
5, 6, 7.